Giant blow-up Santa doll poses like Marilyn Monroe. CNN. So this is Christmas. A coquettish Santa Claus, rocking a sexy version of his traditional red suit while doing his best Marilyn Monroe 7-year leech pose. The wide-mouthed blow-up doll was erected outside a mall in Taoyuan, the capital of China's northern Shanxi province, to appeal to shoppers and tourists. Santa Moran's face, like some other displays around the world, isn't entirely what the holiday season is all about, and certainly rather extreme. China isn't Germany, for example, a country in which you'd expect to find yourself caught up in the Christmas spirit. But not unlike other parts of the world, every November, many shopping malls, hotels, restaurants, and other commercial venues across China coat themselves in a surgery sweet layer of beautiful and occasionally unusual trees, festive light displays, and other holiday kits. And they can come by the decorations cheap thanks to the Chinese city of Yiwu, often called the Christmas capital of the world, for the high number of factories producing holiday decorations that are exported globally. Though there are reports Christianity is on the rise in China, it wouldn't be accurate to say most ordinary Chinese equate Christmas with religion or the celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. It's not a public holiday in China, so all businesses and schools remain open on December 25th. That hasn't stopped many locals from buying into the gift-giving and party traditions of the season. It's a trend retail outlets are more than happy to cater to, piping Christmas music through speakers and laying on the tinsel to get shoppers in the mood to spend. If you really want to enjoy the season, there's no Christmas theme, but China's most wintry attraction is the annual Harbin Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival. Though it doesn't officially kick off until January 5th, many of the displays go up in mid-December and are open for visitors. There is another news. Narrow gauge Nirvana on Hungary's Liputian locomotives. For all its cool bars and faded elegance, there's a lot more to Hungary than Budapest. If you want to explore the countryside, one of the best ways to go is by rail, but not just any old rail. A Hungarian specialty, narrow gauge railways, or little railways, Kisvesat, as Hungarians endearingly call them, offer a route into the country's hinterland that's an attraction in itself. These Lilliputian lines are the vestiges of Hungary's once extensive narrow-gauge network, which, according to an enthusiast website, once covered more than 4,000 kilometers of track. Most of the surviving tourist lines are short on length but long on character, and happily run through some of the most picturesque parts of the country. In eastern Hungary, on the edge of Miskolc, one of Hungary's largest cities, are the forested Bukk hills with lakes, cliffs, waterfalls, and walking trails. The local narrow gauge railway, using a line that once plied an iron forge in the Lillafjord Valley, now transports tourists from the eastern suburbs of Miskolc up into the hills. To get there, you take one of the Horely trains from Budapest Keleti station to Miskolc, 2 hours, then catch tram number 1 from the station. En route, traversing the city's handsome central boulevard, and get off at Dorotea Optka. From there, the line, which the narrow gauge website calls maybe the nicest narrow gauge railway in Hungary, takes you onward and upward. This is no Shinkansen, Japan's Buddhist train. The carriages on the Lillafjord routes roll around drunkenly as the train tracks uphill at a stately pace. But it's a railway fantasy with proper locomotives, including a modern diesel-electric hybrid, carriages, a ticket collector, and even a wood-burning stove in winter. The views are dramatic, with cuttings and viaducts slickling through the steep hills. You will halt by the imposing Palace Hotel at Lillafjord, but you should stay on the train until the last stop at the village of Grenna, deep in the forest. From here it's an easy walk back down the quiet valley, via Thought Ponds and the old iron forge with museum to the lake. A path, follow the little blue crosses, goes around the lake back to the Palace Hotel, where you can order a lavish meal suiting the setting. Alternatively, the modest park buffet next to the railway station serves small but succulent servings of local trout. Nation of train lovers, the little railway seems to appeal to Hungarians' sentimental side, not to mention their love of trains, and there are more than 20 lines nationwide to choose from. Vanessa Joe, a Hungarian railway expert and photographer who has traveled on most of them, recommends some within each reach of Budapest. If you're not driving, the simplest to get to are around the villages of Kismarsos, by the Danube north of Budapest, and Balaton-Fenyves by Lake Balaton. Like Miskolc, both can be reached easily by train from the capital. Kismarsos is less than an hour. Balaton-Fenyves around 2.5 hours. Kismarsos is on the Danube Band, an area of forested hills where the river sweeps south toward Budapest. Its narrow gauge line boasts a state-of-the-art solar-powered train, and at the terminus in Királyt a restaurant and Dresselin Loop. Dresselins, also known as handcars, star in many a Warner Bros. Cartoon. The ones here resemble four-wheeled bicycles on rails, and on the loop you can have a try for yourself. Balaton, meanwhile, is the largest lake in Central Europe, slightly bigger than Lake Geneva, and one of Hungary's main holiday destinations. A selling point of the narrow gauge railway at Balaton-Fenyves is its pass through a bird and game reserve, past the Valley of the Beautiful Women. Another line accessible by public transport is the Metro Railway, starting at the town of Generals, which has two branches. One takes hikers into forest, terminating at Zaglokaha. The other goes to Metrofield, which has several restaurants and is fairly close to Hungary's highest peak, Kakastasho, 1,050 meters. From Budapest, Győr can be reached by direct bus or by taking the train to Vamosgorsk and changing. A similar, albeit longer, two-leg train trip via the city of Eger will get you to Sliversverd. Eger's wine cellars in the intriguingly named Valley of the Beautiful Women are worth a detour, as well as being a center for breeding the Lipizzaner horses made famous by the Spanish riding school in Vienna. Slieverd has a narrow carriage line on into the Bach Hills. These are covered with walking trails, but Fernrek Joe says many people who take the train from Slieverd don't hike at all. Instead, they relax in the meadow by the end station, which has a small food stall and nearby valley waterfall. Kids at the controls. Other lines worth mentioning including Narabasany, a pretty village with a medieval Roman church, where you can catch the small train up into the forest for a meal or a swim at the hotel near the terminus. If you don't have time to escape Budapest, there's the Children's Railway, home to 2 steam engines. To ride it, Joe recommends traveling by tram to Havasology in the western suburbs, then taking the train up to Snighigi, from which there are great views of the city. The Children's Railway is so named because it is actually staffed by kids. It's an extracurricular educational program, so yes, there are a few adult supervisors around. Finally, if you're seeking the full Hungarian safari experience and feeling lucky, Joe mentions the Germanic system, starting at Parboli in southern Hungary. It gets washed away once or twice a year by the Danube, he says, and passengers are often attacked by millions of mosquitoes. What a ride! There is another news. Best smartphone travel photos announced. CNN. Move over SLR lodging vacationers. The smartphone snappers are in town. The expensive pro-looking camera equipment that certain travelers wield at every sunset or traditionally dressed person in sight is looking a little redundant. You might even be one of those photographers, or secretly admire their sleek-looking gear. Either way, proper camera owners, SLR means single lens reflex, and is often used as shorthand for cameras with swappable lenses. May no longer be the ones who come home with the best vacation shots. Smartphone photographers are moving in on their territory. If these selected images from a cell phone travel photography competition sponsored by Celebrity Cruises are any sign. Increasingly powerful. Smartphone cameras aren't only becoming more sophisticated and powerful. The range of in-camera effects, from sepia toning to that color saturated 1950s postcard look is steadily increasing. Certainly, smartphones have the numbers. Celebrity Cruises launched its competition after conducting a survey of more than 1,000 vacationers that showed 67% of them were taking travel pics on their phones. Judges included professional photographers such as Stuart Franklin, former head of the Magnum Photojournalism Agency, and the man who took the unforgettable image of a protester defying a tank during the protest in Tiananmen Square, China in 1989. The gallery above begins with the competition runners-up and finishes with the tightly composed shot of a Buddhist temple in Colombo, Sri Lanka by the winner Zoe Kin. Are you a skilled smartphone travel snapper? Share your best work with us on Facebook and we'll run a gallery when we've received enough shareable images. There is another news. From treats to GPS tracking, how airlines are getting to know you better. CNN. You may tell your airline if you prefer an ISO set to a window set or if you'd rather have chicken than pasta. Some things, however, like the fact that you pick all the cashews from the mixed nuts, or that you always drink a gin and tonic in the airline lounge, you might not. Lastly, though, airlines have a way of knowing your preferences, even when you don't tell them. The culprit? Social media, of course. Recently, Qantas started a tryout to monitor digital conversations on social media sites like Twitter or on Facebook. The technology comes from Australian startup Local Major, and it allows corporate clients to search not by keyword but by GPS coordinates. As a result, when a customer posts a picture on Instagram, even one without a caption from one of 10 Qantas airport lounges, the customer care team is alerted immediately. It allows us to pinpoint customer feedback to a specific location. Even one without a caption from one of 10 Qantas airport lounges, the customer care team is alerted immediately. It allows us to pinpoint customer feedback to a specific location. If someone raises an issue, it gives our launch staff the ability to step in and resolve the problem, says Joe Bondi, head of digital communication at Qantas. If a customer groans on Twitter about a long line at the coffee counter or a broken printer in the business lounge, Qantas can respond in real time. According to Jonathan Barrage, chief executive at Local Major, other airlines will be soon introducing the technology to their lounges as well, allowing the companies not only to respond to problems but to anticipate them as well. It helps our clients better understand what people are thinking about their experience, he says. For example, Barrage says a customer recently tweeted a picture of cereals on offer at the Qantas first-class lounge and noted that his favorite was absent. The next time he visited the lounge, the cereal was there. Qantas knew how to surprise and delight the consumer. It's all little things, but they do add up, he says. Because of the speed with which a staff member can respond on Twitter or Facebook, social media has quickly become a favorite platform for airlines. Customer service. KLM Royal Dutch Airlines employs 130 people to monitor different social media platforms, including VKontakte, a social networking website popular among Russian-speaking users, and Sina Weibo, the Chinese equivalent of Twitter. Social media has become such a popular medium for KLM customers that the company introduced an estimated service response time to their Twitter account, even though the ability to do so isn't built into Twitter. KLM works around this by updating the background image every 5 minutes. For the most part, response times hover around 1 hour. We decided to put our money where our mouth is and show our real-time performance, says Martin van der Zee, Senior Vice President of E-commerce for Air France KLM. Reflecting how attuned the company is to their online followers and customers, their suggestions help KLM create new products and services, including one introduced last week that allows non-passengers to purchase upgrades and gifts for friends and family traveling with their airline. Other ideas developed from social media are destination guides based on cabin crew favorite spots, and a service that allows staff members sweep plans for forgotten wallets, tablets, and mobile phones, and contact the customers, sometimes before they realize their item is missing. If this were suggested to me 4 years ago, I might have said, "These aren't relevant," but now we know that they are, because we get messages coming in every day telling us they are, says van der Zee. We have 30,000 interactions a week. That's a lot of input, and it's motivated us to keep pushing the envelope. There is another news. Ireland is social media turning former Celtic Tiger into Celtic Cloud. Editor's notes: Jim Bowden is a correspondent for CNN's international programming based in London, where he covers a wide range of business and news stories. Follow him on Twitter. CNN: Remember the Celtic Tiger? It was billed as a dream for Ireland. Immigration slowed as tech giants like Apple, Dell, and Intel set up manufacturing plants on the outskirts of Dublin. They were attracted by a young, well-educated, English-speaking island in the heart of the Eurozone. Other foreign firms set up call centers and back office operations, attracted by a corporate tax rate at 10%, now 12.5%. Dublin bust and property prices shot up. Banks were encouraged to lend money to the fast-growing building sector, and everyone was flipping houses as prices soared. Then it spread to the rest of the country as tax breaks led to housing estates being built in remote parts of the country, miles from services and jobs. These loans were then bundled up and used by the bankers and builders to invest in property overseas. Everyone seemed happy. We know what happened next. By November 2010, the government went cap in hand to Europe and the IMF for an €85 billion, $170 billion, bailout as the country took on all the debt of collapsing banks. With that came massive austerity. About 20% of the country's GDP has painfully been cut through budget cuts such as social welfare reductions, pension freezes, tax rises. 3 years on, where is Ireland now? The answer lies in Dublin. As the city that bust, it's clear that the capital is leading the recovery on the back of social media. And I'm promised, it's different this time. Once empty buildings and warehouses in the docklands are filling up with the next generation of young, well-educated Irish graduates, working at the next generation of America tech names, Google, Facebook, Twitter, TripAdvisor, Ancestry. There are also Japanese, Chinese, and German tech firms setting up here, attracted by the language skills they can't find at home. The cloud has come to Dublin and is enveloping the Silicon Docks. There certainly is an argument that some of these firms are attracted by more than a multilingual young employment pool. Even with a rock-bottom corporate tax rate, some of the firms use tax efficiencies to not even pay that on their European sales. But looking beyond that, having these firms growing in Dublin has led to a score of much smaller, indigenous startups riding on the back of the bigger boys who set the tone, and they can be right next door thanks to plenty of cheap office space. Space none could have afforded 5 years ago. This simply did not happen when the likes of Dell was assembling PCs on the outskirts. Now, next to them are also the incubators, private equity firms, coffee shops, and hip new hotels that all seem to be needed for this kind of area to thrive. So, where Greece and Spain have surely lost credibility in the eyes of the business community, Ireland has actually gained traction. It's benefited so much from the changes that Forbes magazine just named Ireland as the best place in the world to do business, a first for Ireland. It may not sound ideal for employees, but Forbes pointed out that Real wages fell 17% during the height of the crisis, and with unemployment near 13%, there is a large pool of well-educated young people looking for work. Add to that the controversial 12.5% corporate tax rate, and Forbes wrote, Ireland still maintains an extremely pro-business environment.